Previously on SDC's Tuesdays at Noon. Hey guys, my name's Phil. It's Tuesday, it's vaguely noonish. Congratulations on surviving yet another week. That light seems to be flickering a bit, but that's okay. You might have noticed that I've moved slightly. The normal couch that I sit on is actually right there. Well, the bench is anyway now. This week I'm doing things a bit differently because I've got a little drum set up here in front of me. I've got Elvis here. I don't know if you can see him. I'm still doing just my once around the street thing, and it seems to be doing me okay. My weight. This is part 3 of my series on finding your own sound. This week's is all about your approach and how you think about the instrument and how that affects your sound, right? Last week I did one about your gear and what you can change, just a basic overview of what you can change to change up your sound. And the week prior to that was more mental as well, interestingly enough. So yeah, go check out those other two. Check out this one. Keep watching this one. Personally, when I think of approach, I think of the internal dynamics of the instrument. And that is all based on how you think of and prioritize different things for the individual grooves, for the way that you play. I tend to be a bit more handsy than feetsy. I tend to play a bit like heavier on top than I do down the bottom here. Some people would prioritize the bass drum and really ground the groove and make it sound nice and bottom heavy. Some people would really emphasize the backbeat, the snare drum parts, whatever they happen to be. And some people might think of the hi-hats as, you know, the time, the clock that keeps the groove moving, right? So if you're playing everything quietly, right? Now, if you're the kind of person that thinks more bottom heavy, more bass drum heavy, you would end up playing something like... right? And if you're more backbeat heavy, it would probably be more like... Hi-hat heavy isn't as common. Most people would be between the kick and snare, right? But little hat heavy would be like... Most people will sit kind of lighter on the hi-hats and heavier on the kick and backbeat. That's more of a poppy kind of thing, right? There's also how loud you are in relation to the rest of your band in general, right? Some players are really well known for being quieter players, like Steve Gadd generally plays very light. For the most part, he's just going, you know... Hey, there's no floor tom here. But he's just playing along like little... You know, he's just doing little light stuff. That's kind of the internal dynamics and external dynamics, for that matter. Another thing with your playing and how you just approach it is your concept of swinging, your concept of where you sit with a shuffle swing feel, right? Or how straight you play your eighths on your hats, right? Or whatever you're riding on, whether it's an actual ride, which I don't have set up for this, or it's just your hats, right? Whether you're playing full straight eighths, right? right? Or where you sit in between that. Ringo is famous for his kind of the Ringo shuffle, which was really sloppy and somewhere in between the two, not quite straight, not quite swung. You know, it's very cool. There's other guys that do that really well, but they tend to be more in the funk side of things, you know, like right, all that kind of zigaboo stuff. What would zigaboo do, you know? Nothing will change your sound more than your time feel, you know, and your internal external dynamics. Another thing that a lot of people don't really talk about is where you sit on the beat, right? Whether you're metronomic with your playing or whether you kind of sit behind it, consistently behind it, you know, or you sit consistently in front of it. I tend to sit a little bit ahead of the beat, which makes things seem a little bit more exciting, but it's very slight, you know, usually, but sometimes it can get right out of hand. I actually think of it based on posture, you know. If I'm trying to play just straight metronomic, I will sit straight up and down and I will play kind of as mechanically as I can, you know. And if I try to sit behind the beat, I'll actually I'll slouch a bit, I'll lean back a bit. You know, and I'll try not to play slightly slower. That's the hard part. And when I'm playing ahead of the beat, I will lean into it more. I will lean forward more. I'll kind of get a bit more aggressive with it. That was just faster. Yeah, so it's very subtle, but you can really hear it when you're in a kind of more of a band context. As I was watching last week's, it got me thinking about another series of these that I could do, all about refining your sound. Maybe I could get more in depth with most of what I was talking about last week. And I suppose some of the concepts from this week as well. I've got a couple more hat trick videos in the pipeline as well coming up. I'm gonna get more into the effect of different hoops on your drums, which should be fun. I've got a video coming up in the next couple weeks, hopefully, that will have a couple of very special guests in it, one of whom is in Toronto and will be telecommuting, so to speak. So that should be cool. If it works out. I'm not entirely sure it will, but we'll see what happens. Yeah. I guess that's it for now. So, like always, if you like what I'm doing, share, like, and subscribe to the video. This is weird standing up. I like this better than sitting down for these videos. It's just fun. It's just more funner. Yeah, so that's it. Hope you guys had a good week. Share and like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that fun stuff. And should I do more stuff with this Vibroslap? I don't know. I like it. Anyway, I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Whoa. That was kind of lame.